LinkedIn Echo Chamber. This is ML's like Team Spirit. Today we've got Riaz back with me. Riaz, how are you doing?
I am good. Great to be here.
Good. Riaz, welcome back. Last time you were telling everybody how fixing data was a waste of time and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully we got equally some thought-provoking comments today. But I wanted you to come back because you've got this B2B background where you're helping your customers deliver using data. And this concept of like how to build a plan to deliver what the business needs using all these different types of data and different data sets and how they get constructed is something that I wanted to go through with you. So could I ask you to kick it off a bit, like sort of tell us about your world, all the different data that you have, some of the definitions and how it comes together to build a plan for your clients?
Yeah, so this comes about because for the last bunch of years, we've had Google shouting about how it's going to switch off third-party cookies. And of course, that's been given a stay of execution, though the end result, I think, from a consumer and from an advertiser stroke marketer standpoint, is really the same. The effectiveness of a third-party cookie is going to drop significantly. We've seen it in the past. And so that's sort of the topic that I want to cover off today is if we take a step back and look at the different types of data that you use to power targeted advertising in B2B, there's a lot of chatter around first-party data. First-party data is absolutely critical. You won't find me disagreeing with that. But the simple reality is for every company out there is if all you do is focus on first-party data, and first-party data is data that you've collected yourself, right? So that could be people on your email list. It could be people that your sales teams have talked to inside your CRM. All of this first-party data you could use to power an advertising campaign. Now, the challenge, of course, is everybody will know their CRM list or their newsletter list represents a small fraction of the entire market. And if all you do is focus on first-party data, all of the competitors out there who are going beyond first-party data to third-party data being data that's collected by a third party and then used for targeting. You don't need third-party cookies still to be able to access third-party targeting. There are ways around it. So, for example, we can target a particular persona at a specific company using a mix of AI and IP targeting to reach that audience. No third-party cookie in sight. And so you still do need that third-party data. You then can also use audience lookalikes to reach a wider audience. So predictive data, effectively. And that can help broaden the first party or broaden your reach in the marketplace. And that's really, if you think about a plan for how you go about targeting advertising today, the way we think about it is, first of all, how do you reach the widest audience possible? Now, there's the wider you go, the more wastage there is. The question is, how do you define wastage, right? Because if you could and had the money, and if you listen to the B2B Institute, which was an arm of LinkedIn, they would always tell you to go broad. And I would always chuckle because the broader you go, the more money you spend on LinkedIn. So, and none of us have got enough money to go very broad on LinkedIn as a result. So you're always going to have to narrow it down. But you narrow it down to your ideal customer profile. You might go a bit broader than that if you know, for example, there's people outside your profile that's coming into your ideal customer profile because you are targeting early. But your overall budget will define how wide you can go. That builds awareness up. And the analogy that I use is PPC versus SEO, right? If you invest in SEO over 6 months, 12 months, it's going to drive traffic for free to your website. But if you want traffic tomorrow, you've got to use PPC. You can't wait for your SEO to work. And advertising is the same when it comes to brand awareness versus performance advertising. It's much cheaper to reach the broader audience and plant a seed that then grows into awareness and of who you are and your reputation in the marketplace, so that they will come to you later and engage with you directly, again, without you paying for that that visit further down the funnel. We, as a rule of thumb, think about a 70-30 split, maybe an 80-20 split, but we start at a 70-30 split, with 70% spent on the brand awareness side. Then what we do is we look to see which what signals there are out there. So it could be intent data again. Are they on your website showing buying behavior? Are they showing behavior widely across the internet that suggests buying behavior? Are they engaging with the ads? I go back to the point about the broader you target, the more wastage there is. This is where behavior is really important for advertising. The minute somebody is showing behavior, you know that that person is likely to be inside your target audience and is worth pursuing. And you then start to play on the fundamentals of advertising generally, right? So not just the reach side, but also the frequency side. And so then we then use the 30% of the budget to be driving retargeting advertising across channels from all of those signals, plus the ad engagers from the awareness campaign. And that then drives people to then start to take action with you. And again, it may not be complete bottom of the funnel. It might be attend a webinar, come to an event. The rise of AI, I think, is going to do two things. Oh, it's going to do many things, but two things that I want to pull out. First, I think, is it's going to make face-to-face interaction more important. It's going to mean that you need to drive people to that place. In some ways, I compare it to going back to the village sort of situation, whereby having your brand up there, or the awareness of who you are, and then when you get there, that person knows exactly who you are. We're sort of drifting back towards that environment again. The second thing with AI that I think is going to really help in the B2B space specifically is I talked a bit about predictive data, so that audience matching. A lot of the algorithms that are out there are very B2C centric. They will match your audience based on age or gender or broad industry even, which in itself is useless to a B2B marketer. I think the rise of AI is going to allow us to be much more granular in our modeling. We're going to be able to create lots more models that are more tightly defined to your target audience. In fact, I think it's not unlikely that we can start building predictive audiences right down to each individual client, for example, and then use those models to directly drive audience matching.
God, I hope so, Riaz. This has been, building models has been my whole life, so I'm super excited to hear this.
I thought you'd like that bit.
Yeah, so look, what I like, so I'm hearing that, there's all these data types on I think of it as like a continuum. So we've got first party data that belongs to a brand, through to third party, which can be expanded through predictive, and there's all these choices they can make. I like the rule of thumb. So like 30% kind of first party and probably like conversion type activities. 70% is kind of keeping a bunch of prospects warm. And I like the links to AI, but could I try and draw you on another topic?
Yes, go on.
That you weren't expecting. So when you're working with your customers and you've given them this pitch of all these different pieces of data they can use for their, drive their marketing result, how do you address that bright spark that will be talking to you about, well, which bits of this, Riaz, are incremental? where's an incremental ROI coming from,
Yeah.
and where is it not coming from? And can't I just do the bits where there's no incremental, but they'll come anyway? Like, how can you help me solve this? Now, I'm feeling like we've got like a 12-hour video coming on to discuss that topic. But is there any just like, I don't know, a bit of narrative that you use in your business meetings when it gets to that? Because it is a bit sort of prickly and sort of derails the idea of just delivering a plan. It becomes too analytical. Is my opinion, author's opinion. Where do you sort of answer? How do you answer this and work with your customers on that question?
I think there's two key points here. One is everybody wants a lead tomorrow, which means that to chase after the people who are in market today, that 5% of people who are in market today, you're having to go after something that's high demand, which means you're going to pay more. So you can ignore the incremental brand awareness stuff at the beginning and choose to pay more for your leads today, or you can invest in brand awareness that allows you to lower your acquisition costs over time. And so that's the first key thing. The second point is, as marketers, we always have to report upwards about the performance of our work. And so attribution is something that we go round and round in circles around, right? And we need to be able to point to how well this channel is doing. And if you think about what I'm arguing for, when you are investing in brand and you are investing in that top of the funnel, the challenge is that they may come in completely directly without touching any channel 3 months later. We know from our own data analysis that advertising has an impact 3-6 months later, and we can show that uplift. But what that means is that most default attribution models ignores the brand reputation piece that's actually driving, whether that's advertising or just work that's been done more broadly. It ignores that. And so as a result, the investment in that top of the funnel stuff often doesn't get attributed to at all. And it all gets given to PPC, which can often be last click, or other channels like it.
God, it's complicated, Riaz, isn't it?
I kind of like my piece on getting comfortable with your CRM being dirty. As a marketer, I think you have to get comfortable with the fact that you can't just rely on recency of channel interaction as being why somebody is actually buying from you. You kind of have to go beyond that. I talk a bit about the dark funnel. If you do a search of that in my name, you'll find a bunch of articles where so much of what's actually happening now is outside of attribution software that you need to actually find out and talk or try and understand where actually people are hearing about you, because there's conversations on social media, there's stuff in forums, stuff on review websites. All of these things are very difficult to attribute.
We'll link to this article or some information on this, Riaz, in the comments when we post this video so that folk can read a little bit more. Bad news is though, Riaz, we've hit time. So look, thank you for all your insights on how to build a better plan using data and how to get through the question of incrementality and so on and so forth. And just thanks for all your insights on these topics. Ladies and gents, this has been ML's Like Team Spirit.